Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and happy new month to you all. For the sake of clarity, kindly type in hi in the comment section if you can see my screen and you can hear my voice clearly. I will appreciate that. So I want to see some response in respect to this. Let's know we are on the same page so that we can get this session started. All right. Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Carrie. Good morning. Hey, Ashitaka, I didn't see you yesterday. How are you doing this morning? And happy new month to you. Exactment. Okay. Hello. Hi, Kaz. Hello. 5005. Hello. Good morning. Oh, 496. Glad to have you around. What happened? Not seeing you in days. Trust you're doing well. And happy new month to you. Oh, Ashitaka. All right. Hope your moves are bringing in money. It's okay. Okay. Oh, you've been around. Oh, glad to hear that. All right. So it's okay. Lester 6241. How are you? All right, let's get the session started. It's a new month. I wish you all a happy new month. And we're already on the second to the last day of the week. And I welcome you to yet another promising session of Extra Speed Life, hosted by my humble self, Sheriff Daramola. As usual, I will be taking you on a trading journey in the next 1 hour, where we shall be evaluating the financial market using technical parameters and tools to identify trading opportunities lining up for us this week. Sorry, this New York session today. And before I do that, I want to all let you know that it has been quite a promising week for us, especially on the major pairs we've been looking at. And we want to see how these pairs have been doing so far. Okay, and so let's dive into the chart and let's see what's happening. And before I do, if you have any pair you want us to look at, feel free to drop it in the comment section and we shall try as much as possible to inculcate it into our schedule for this morning. So as usual, the first pair we are going to be deliberating on is the US oil, and on the US oil price has been moving to the downside in the last 24 hours as we finally saw a breakdown of that bullish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. So this is what we've been seeing the last 24 hours. Price has continued to the downside. We started the week at this point and we've had our price move from about the $94 mark right into the $87 area since the beginning of the week, and price has moved about 6 to 700 pips in the downward direction. So let's see what is happening on the higher time frame first before we move into what is currently happening at this point in time. So on the higher time frame, obviously we had a very strong bullish trend line that has been guiding price action in the last 2 years. So we can see that that was emphasized with that bullish trend line I was able to identify here. And remember, I shared with you how we were actually expecting a bullish momentum since the beginning of the week after noticing this multiple rejection of the $85 area by the buyers in the last couple of weeks. So because of this, we've been expecting that bullish momentum since the beginning of the week. We actually took one anyways, and this is what we have here on the 1 hour time frame. So when we scale down to the 1 hour time frame and look at what happened since the beginning of the week, we had a scenario here where we saw our price got consolidated between the $94.50 area and the $93 area, and we took that move to the upside from here. I think we took about 400 pips move from there before we started seeing this bearish momentum. And when we cited this bearish momentum, we waited for a breakdown of this bullish trend line to give us that signal, as there is a possibility that price could likely reject this level and push to the upside, but that did not happen. And we saw that signal in the form of a breakdown of this bullish trend line on Tuesday. Then we saw a retest of a structure. We saw multiple rejection of this area. Then we joined the decline from this point to the downside. So this move, we've been enjoying this move in the last 72 hours on the US oil, as price action has moved to as far as the $87.50 area. Remember, we still have our take profit target right around the $85 mark, which is somewhere around the key level we identified here on the daily time frame, which also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line we identify on the 4 hours time frame. Let me show you where that is on the 4 hours time frame. Let's go to the 4 hours time frame so that I can show you. So we have here on the 4 hours time frame, we saw our price has continued to respect that bearish trend line since the beginning of I think since the month of June. We saw our prices continually respected this bearish trend line. So we were able to identify that resultant bearish trend line until we saw the final breakout of that structure during the mid month of August. Now, like I said during my previous live session, I told you how from a technical perspective, whenever we see a breakout of structure, something like this, we saw the breakout of that bearish trend line, we expect price to probably come back down to do a retest of that structure, where we will be looking forward to reversal patterns that support a trend continuation to the upside. So lo and behold, price has been moving in that direction, and because of that, we were able to move our stop. We were able to extend our TP target to somewhere around the $85 mark, which is the area that we expect price to do a retest of, which also shares a confluence with the key level we identify at the $85 area. So one thing we want to be looking forward to here is this. We just want to see how this move is going to end. So we are looking at this bearish momentum right now, continuing to the downside. So the first thing I'll be saying is this. First of all, let me know how many pips are we running with right now. We're running with about close to 500 pips in profit at the moment. So what we want to be doing at this point is to move our stop loss in such a way that we lock in some profit at this juncture in the market, as we don't want to get ourselves caught up with unnecessary pullback that might happen at this point. And if we are going to be locking our profit, I will be suggesting somewhere right above the $89.50 area, or around the $90 mark, which is right around that bullish trend line area. So now that we have a breakdown of that bullish trend line on the daily time frame, let me show you. There's a daily time frame here. So we've seen that in the last 3 days, we can see how we witnessed engulfing candles that took price out of the bullish opportunity we were actually expecting during the first day of the week. So we saw that we've seen a breakdown of that bullish trend line. So now we are in a situation where we need to be very, very cautious. Even though we are on a very bullish trend, we still want to observe how price is going to relate with this area. So with this area between the bullish trend line here and the key level at $85 mark. So we want to see how what pattern, what structure is going to happen within this area. So let's see what happens. So if you are still in this trade, move your stop loss to lock in some profit, and I cited somewhere around the $98.50 right above that area is quite appropriate to lock in some profit at this point. And let's see if our take profit target will be it by the end of the New York session today. So there is nothing much on the US oil other than we lock in our profit and continue to watch price action move in the direction we expected. So what we are going to be waiting for to is a possible rejection of this level. Probably we're going to be having a reversal pattern here. It could be a double bottom structure. Then we look out for buying opportunity on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. However, if we have a breakdown of the $85 mark, that is the key level we identify on the first day of the week, then we want to be seeing this as a signal that a bearish momentum is about to happen, because that is the major bullish trend line we have since in the last 2 years. So if we see a final breakdown of that level, then we must be careful and mindful that we might be having a bearish momentum. And remember, we are not going to get excited at the sight of a signal, because we want to wait for confirmation that is going to come in form of either a retest of the structure or probably the bullish trend line here, where we want to be looking out for patterns to join the decline to the downside. So this is the scenario we're going to be looking forward to um, towards the end of this week. So hold on to your selling position, lock in some profit, and let's see if price is going to extend to our TP target at the $85 mark. So that is that on the US oil. If you have any question whatsoever, feel free to drop a word or two in the comment section. Let's see how we can be of help in that regard. Now, I want to look at something on the lower time. Let's look at what's happening on the 15 minutes time frame. I want to see if there is a short-term opportunity for those who actually missed this bearish momentum we've been enjoying in the last 72 hours. So I want to scale down to the 15 minutes time frame, see if we could have an opportunity that we could take advantage of. So on the 15 minutes time frame here, now we can see that we are on a bearish momentum. And what I want to do first of all here on the 15 minutes time frame is to identify a bearish trend line after connecting the series of lower highs. So yes, so lower highs here. Then we have something like let's see, we have something like this to count with. And okay, so we have this. So let's see, when we bring back our candle chart, we have this bearish trend line, and then we need a key level to work with. So if we bring out our line chart and let's look at the current structure we have here, we can, if we look into the past, we see how this area has been a demand zone. We saw this area, it has been a demand niche before we saw the final breakdown of that structure. So I want to be identifying somewhere around the $89 area as our key level. This is for short-term opportunity, that is for those who are not in this trade and they are looking forward to be part of this bearish move. So I'm trying to identify somewhere we could be looking forward to as a trading opportunity during the New York session today. That is, if price comes back into this area. So let's see, we have somewhere around the $88.80. So let's try to label this area for the sake of clarity. So we have the 88.80, and let's place this right at the top and side, on the right hand side of the screen. So we have, here we go. So we have something like this. So let's see what happens. And if you look at this key level here, you can see how the key level and the bearish trend line we identified here on the 15 minutes time frame share the same confluence. So if price is going to come back into this area, that is this key level or this bearish trend line, after which we cite multiple rejection, it could be a multiple rejection or any pattern that supports a trend continuation to the downside, probably on your lower time frame, you can join the decline from that point. So if price comes back, that is a condition. If price comes back into that area, you might want to be joining the decline from that point, which will be dovetailing to, let's see how many pips that is, about 200 to 300 pips to catch here, which is not bad. So let's see what happens. Is price going to come back into that level at $88.80? And if the market decides to give us some more positions to take advantage of, then it comes back into that level, then we could take advantage of a bearish momentum at the site of multiple rejection of that level and the bearish trend line. So this is the scenario we're looking forward to on the on the US oil. So let's see how we can take advantage of that move. Be on standby to take advantage of that move. So let's move on. If you have questions, like I said, feel free to drop a word or two in the comment section, and I would try as much as possible to check the comment section from time to time. So that's that. Okay, so let's move on to the next pair. The next pair we are going to be deliberating on is the US Tech, and US Tech to hit our take profit target yesterday. So let me share with you how we got into that scenario. So we had this move yesterday. Remember, we had a scenario here. And before I do, remember we've been enjoying a bearish momentum in the last couple of weeks on this one, and the bearish momentum appears to be very, very strong at this point in the market. And during the course of yesterday, we were around this point yesterday. Hold on a second. Yes, we were around this point yesterday, and we actually identified a sell zone right around here at around right around the $12,500 mark, and we said we want to be joining a decline from that point. Remember, prior to the live session yesterday, we had this impulsive move, price move to the downside from there, and then that was a signal of a bearish momentum. We were not too excited, so we waited for confirmations to happen, and we cited the golden zone area, which is around the 50 and the 78.6% of the previous impulse leg, which it falls around this area, and we said we want to be looking for patterns within this area that will support a trend continuation to the downside. And when we look closely into the structure we had here, that is around here, we saw a consolidation phase right around the sell zone area with sharp rejection of that area. So we've scaled down to the 15 minutes time frame to identify what is actually happening. And when we scale down to the 15 minutes time frame, what did we see? Yes, we saw multiple rejection of this level. We saw this multiple rejection, and then we saw the breakdown. So I told you that we should expect the breakdown of this neckline. I think we were around this point yesterday. Hold on a second. We were around here yesterday. Yes, we were around this. We were around here yesterday. Remember? And I told you that if we see a breakdown retest of the structure, if we see a breakdown of this $12,420 level, this one, we saw the breakdown price came back into the structure, and we saw this bearish move to the downside, hereby hitting our take profit target within this area. So we identify a take profit target around the $12,100 area and the 12,000 and $50 area, and price actually get to as far as the $12,104 area before we started seeing signs of multiple rejection by the buyers. So if you were part of this move yesterday, you would have made about let's see how many pips that is, about at least a minimum of 300 pips to have been caught here. If you had done that, kudos to you for being on standby to take advantage of that move. Now that we are headed into the New York session today, what is going to be our plans on the US Tech? Are we still going to continue on our selling momentum, or should we be expecting that price is going to go through a phase of retracement? Well, this is the structure we have at this point. So the first thing I want to be doing here is to delete all this, as this is no longer relevant. We don't need this anymore. We have the 12,500 mark area. Do we still need it? Okay, let's still leave that alone. The TP target here, since we have hit our TP target, so let's delete it, and then let's look at this chart afresh. So we scale up to the daily time frame. Let's see what's happening on the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, remember we had this ascending channel that has been guiding price action since the early days of the month of June, and we can see our price has consistently found higher highs and higher lows, which led into the breakout of that channel, and then price came back into the support level of the channel during the last couple of days, and we saw how price has pushed to the downside of that channel. So we've seen We saw during the course of yesterday's trading session, the bearish engulfing candle closed right below the below the ascending channel. So what are we going to be looking forward to? Is there going to be a continued bearish momentum in such a way that we have a breakdown, a significant breakdown of this channel where a retest of structure will give us further confirmation to join the decline? Is that a scenario we want to be looking forward to? That's something we need to look at closely. And considering the fact that we are on a long-term bearish momentum, if we zoom out to see what has been happening since the beginning of the year, we can see that we have a very strong result and bearish trend line that price has been respecting since the beginning of the year. So now that we have a breakdown of this descending channel, of this ascending channel, so what should be our expectation going forward? So let's scale down to back to the 1 hour time frame and let's see what structure we have here on the 1 hour time frame. So on the 1 hour time frame, this is what we have. We've seen this move. We saw a retracement of this move. We took advantage of this and price came into our 127.2% of the previous impulse leg extension. So now if we look closely into the structure and look at what has been happening since the early hours of the trading session today, we can see our price has consistently been rejected. We see our buyers have consistently rejected the $12,100 level. So what I want to be doing right now is to identify this area as a potential demand zone. Let me call it a temporary demand zone, at least for the meantime, because we don't know how strong this demand zone is going to be. So this is just like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. So this demand zone is like 11 hours old, so we don't know if it's going to continue to hold price action. So let's label this area for the sake of clarity. So we have a demand zone sitting around the $12,100 mark. Let's give this a green. Okay, now I want to place this right inside. So I want to place this right inside the box. Okay, so we have a demand zone here. We have multiple rejection of this $12,100 area by the buyers to give us a clue of a potential buying power from this point. Now let's scale down to the 15 minutes time frame to see things more clearly. So we want to see how this consolidation phase has been happening. So if we bring out our line chart here, I want to identify a key level that will be our guide. So we have somewhere around the 12,000. Let me see. I think 12,160 will be most appropriate here. So let's give this a purple. And then we name it $12,160 area. So we have a $12,160 area. So now, since we have a demand zone here, we might want to be waiting for price to break out this $12,160 area to give us a signal that there is a bullish momentum evolving, and a retracement into the structure should give us further confirmation to join the rally to the upside. However, it is worthy to note here that considering the long-term bearish momentum we have here on the US tech, we might want to be seeing this bullish momentum as a retracement phase of the previous impulse leg that we have here. This impulse leg that we have here, and this move to the upside is likely going to be a retracement phase of this. So if you're about taking advantage of this, I think this is suitable for those who like taking short-term trades or counter trend opportunities. So if you are that type of person, then you could actually take advantage of this bullish momentum, wait for breakout, retest of structure, then you can join the rally to the upside. So that is for those who like taking short-term opportunities. But for people like me, who I prefer taking long-term trades, what I'll be doing at this point in the market is to allow the bullish momentum to run, because I'm going to be seeing this bullish momentum as a retracement move of the previous impulse leg we already have here. So let's see how this bullish momentum will lead us to. Is it going to bring us back into the bullish trend line we have on the daily time frame? That is somewhere around here, or probably price come back to where it started this week, after which I'll be looking for reversal pattern to join the decline to the downside on this one. So this is what I'm going to be looking forward to. So if I see a breakout of this level, then I want to be seeing this impulse leg. I want to run my Fibonacci retracement through this impulse leg. That is, if this is where, if we have a breakout of the structure from this point, then somewhere around the 50 and the 78.6% area should be an area we want to be looking forward to for selling opportunities. So we have this area as our sell window. Let's place it right inside the box, and then we have all right, great. So let's delete this. So we have a selling window around this area. So let's see how that works out this week. And okay, I think that's and where will our take profit target be once we continue with the selling momentum? Well, we want to extend this impulse leg into the future, something like this. So what do we have? We bring out our Fibonacci extension tool, run it through this impulse leg, and we aim at where? We aim at somewhere around the 127.2 and the 1414, which is going to be our TP targets for any selling momentum here. That is somewhere around the $12,000 area. Yeah, and we should be dovetailing to about how many pips that is, at least a minimum of 350 to 400 pips to catch here if price moves in that direction. So like I said here, what are we looking forward to? We are looking forward to a breakout of the structure. So breakout, retest to the upside, then we look out for selling opportunities from here to join the decline to the downside. So that's the first scenario we're looking forward to. Then the other scenario we might be looking forward to is if price breaks down this demand zone here. So if during the course of the New York session we see an outright breakdown of this demand zone, that is price takes out all the all the buying positions from this point, then we want to be considering this move as a bearish signal. Then remember, we don't get too excited at the sight of that signal. We will want to wait for price action to give us a confirmation, which will come in form of a retest of this demand zone, or probably go as far as a retest of the $12,160 area, where we look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the decline to the downside. So this is the scenarios we want to be looking forward to. So we have two scenarios here. So we are well equipped on the US tech. Once any of the scenarios happen, we know exactly what to do. So if you have any question, whatsoever, feel free to drop it in the comment section, and I'll always check the comment section from time to time to see if there are any inquiries so far regarding what we just discussed. Okay. Oh, 359. Good morning. 47416 is new. You're welcome. So let's move on to the next pair. The next pair we are looking at is the USD Jpy. And on the USD Jpy, we've been having a very strong bullish momentum on the USD Jpy. And remember what I told you during the course of yesterday's trading session. Remember, since the beginning of the week, actually, we have been expecting price to come back into this buy zone we identified here. That is, price come back to this area after we want to be looking forward to a bullish momentum from here, but price did not come back into that area, as since the beginning of the week, as soon as price tested the 139 Japanese yen level, we have witnessed a consolidation phase right within the 139 and the 138.1 area. And one thing I called our attention to yesterday, that this channel we see here looks more like a bullish rectangle. And if we cite a bullish rectangle like this, what we want to be doing is to wait out for a signal which is likely going to come in form of a breakout and retest of structure to join the rally to the upside. So this is exactly what has happened on the USD Jpy, and price has actually did as we have expected. So we saw the breakout of the structure. Did you take this move? I actually took this move yesterday because I saw a breakout retest on lower time frame. So I joined the rally to the upside and when we saw price come back again to do a retest of the zone, the buy zone here, and I took added another position to my existing trade at this point, and we want to be aiming at somewhere around the $140 area and the $140 140 Japanese point 140.3 Japanese yen area. So price has moved significantly well in the direction we have expected right now. So going forward, going into the New York session today, this 139.00 level will be our yardstick. So what does this mean here is this. What we want to be seeing during the New York session is price to continue to be right above this 139 Japanese yen area for me to be comfortable in my selling position on this one. So this is what we are going to be looking forward to. So if you have been in this move, kudos to you for identifying this. Move your stop loss to break even at this point, and let's see how price is going to move during the New York session. We're going to be having our TP target hit today. That's something we want to wait and see. And then I want to add to this. Following this impulsive move from here to here, we see this move as a retracement phase of this impulse leg. With this being said, there is a likelihood that we could have price come back into this buy zone area. And how did we get this buy zone area? I brought out my Fibonacci retracement tool, run it through this impulse leg, and we have between the 50 and the 70.6% of that impulse leg as my buy zone. So now that we have that, if at any point in time price comes back into this area during the New York session today, what we want to be looking forward to is a reversal pattern around this area. It could be a double bottom structure, after which we look out for breakout retest of structure on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. So bullish momentum still holds here on the USD Jpy. So what we want to be looking forward to is for buying opportunities here. So as soon as we see a reversal pattern around this area, that is around or within this area, then we want to be adding more position to our existing trade. That is for those who are already in this trade, and for those who are not in this trade yet, then you want to be looking for buying opportunity right within this area. So TP targets 140, between 140 and 140.3, which will be dovetailing to at least a minimum of 100 to 150 to 130 pips to catch here, which is not too bad. And let's see what happens during the New York session. So that is that on the USD Jpy. It's a very, very simple setup. So let's be on standby to take advantage of that move. That is for those who are not in this trade already. But if you are in, kudos to you for identifying that opportunity. So that's that on the USD Jpy. And let's move on to the next pair. So the next pair we are going to be looking at is the USD Chf. In fact, I took two opportunities. Is it? Yes, two opportunities. I took two TP targets on this one, on the USD Jpy. But let's look at this together. So where were we yesterday when we were looking at this pair? So we were around here yesterday when we were looking at this pair yesterday. We were around here, and one thing I made mention of is this. Well, before I go into where we were yesterday, I think it's appropriate that I scale up to the daily time frame so that I can share with those who are not here with us during the beginning of the week to have a view of how we came about this decision. So let's scale up to the daily time frame and let's see what is happening on the daily time frame. If we look at a daily time frame, price has been on the bullish momentum since the beginning of the year, so we were able to identify this bullish trend line after connecting the series of higher lows, and then we saw one here during the early days of the month of August. You can see our price has consistently respected that bullish trend line. So that was the first parameter that gave us a clue of the strength of the buyers in this market. So now the second scenario we looked at is this. We saw this bearish move right from the month of June. We saw how this price left all the way from 1.0640 to as far as the 0.95700 area. Price came back to find a lower high. Then it came back around this area, break down this key level at 0.95700 area. At this time, it got into the bearish trend line. Here, it broke out of that bearish trend line, did the retest of the trend line to push to the upside from here. So these are the reasons why we are looking for a bullish momentum here on the USD Chf. You can see how the USD Chf has been very, very strong. So going into the new week, let's scale down to the 1 hour time frame. We observed how we had a breakout of structure here. Hold on a second. We saw this consolidation phase during the beginning of the week. Then we saw the breakout of the structure, though the market did not give us room for confirmation to join the rally, and price continued to the upside from this point. However, after citing the breakout of the 0.97580 area yesterday, I told you how we should be patient and wait for price action to come back and do a retest of the 0.97580 area. Let's zoom in and see how that played out. Okay, so we zoom into the structure. So this is where we were yesterday. We saw this breakout of the structure. Then I told you how we should wait for price action to come back into the 0.97580 area, where we want to be looking out for patterns on lower time frame that supports a trend continuation to the upside. So with this being said, I took advantage of this move right about the 0.97580 area with a take profit target at around the 0.98060, and the reason why we had a take profit target here is simply because we had a selling niche around this area. We can see as soon as price got into this area, we saw selling momentum from that point. So what I did is to put my TP target around this area and to see how price is going to relate with that level before I make a decision of adding more position to my existing trade. However, you see what happened when price got into the 0.981 area. We saw multiple rejection after hitting the TP target, and we saw that bearish move to the downside, and price came back again into the entry point. So with the sight of multiple rejection again, I entered this trade one more time, and right now I'm in profit at this point. So if you are taking advantage of this move, kudos to you to have been able to identify such opportunities, and right now we are in about 40 pips in profit at this point in time, with take profit target still remains around the same area, that is the 0.98060 level. So right now we have a structure around the 0.90 area. Hold on a second, let's highlight this. Let's see it out. So we have 0.98010 area. We have another key level there, 0.98010. So we have this level. Let's place it right at the top. Let's give this a purple too as well. All right, good. So now, we have another level right at the 0.98010. So now going into the New York session today, what are we going to be looking forward to? Now, if price continues in such a way that it breaks out of the 0.98010 area, then that should be seen as a signal, as a bullish signal. Remember, we are not getting too excited, as we want to wait for further confirmation to happen in the form of a retest of the structure to join the rally to the upside. So this is what we want to be looking forward to during the New York session today. Are we going to be having a breakout of that structure? That is the first scenario we want to be looking at. Then the second scenario we want to be looking at is the likelihood of a multiple rejection of the 0.9810 level. So if we have a multiple rejection of that level, then there is a likelihood that price will come back down to as far as the buy zone we identified here yesterday. And the reason why I said it will go this far is simply because we had the first rejection of the 0.9801 here yesterday. We had a second rejection during the early hours of today. And then if we have another third rejection here, it isn't going to be a sign that the sellers are very, very strong at this point. So you might want to be selling right back into the 0.97200 area, where is our buy zone, which also shares a confluence with the bullish trend line we identified here on the 1 hour time frame. So if that happens, then we want to be looking forward to a reversal pattern within this area, like a double bottom structure, to join the trend continuation to the upside. So our bias on the USD CHF is still very bullish. So let's see what happens. Are we going to be having a breakout of the structure during the New York session today? Will a retest of structure give us a confirmation to join the rally? Or are we going to have a multiple rejection of this area, thereby sending price crashing to the buy zone area, where we want to be looking for buying opportunity from here? So on a long-term perspective, we are still expecting a very strong bullish momentum on the USD CHF. So where it's going to happen, how we are going to buy it, is what I've just explained to you so far. So I was able to share with you two scenarios for buying opportunity here on the USD CHF. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section, and I will see to it to be of help. So moving on, we went on to talk about the Euro USD. In fact, I hit stop loss here yesterday on the Euro USD. Price hit my stop loss. We can see how we were taken out of the position around this area. During the New York session yesterday, we were taken out at a loss of about how many pips that is? Let's see. Hold on a second. Let's see. That's about 46 pips loss. And though I'm still expecting that bearish momentum anyways. So how did we get to this point? So let's go to the daily time frame and let's see. So on the daily time frame, we have a very strong bearish momentum. Price has been trending to the downside on the daily time frame, and we were able to connect the series of lower heights to give us that resultant bearish trend line. So we have the lower highs here. We saw the first touch, we saw the second touch here, the third touch in the month of May, we had the fourth touch in the month of June, then we had another one mid-August that took price right into the 0.991 area. Now, if we look at the structure we had during the course of last week trading session, let's scale down to the 4 hours time frame here and look at what happened in the during the last week trading session. What do we have here? We can see how price was caught within a consolidation phase, hereby depicting the indecision that gripped the market at this point. So what this simply says is that participants in the market are actually waiting for a catalyst for them to make a decision on where price is going to be heading towards. And because of this, we've had a scenario where there is an indecision, which is projected by this consolidation phase we can see here. You can see how price has been oscillating right around the $1 area and the $0.92 level. We can see what has been happening. However, during the early days of the week, we were able to identify this bullish trend line after connecting the series of higher lows. Here, we connected this point, we connected this point, and we connected this point to identify this bullish trend line. And what we saw during the early days of the week gave us a signal of a bearish momentum, and that was this breakdown of this bullish trend line. So we saw the breakdown of this bullish trend and said, oh, now let's get prepared for selling opportunities. So what we were waiting for was a retest of structure, which later happened. It happened like this. We saw multiple rejection of this area, and then we saw it just move to the downside here, which we took advantage of. But unfortunately, price went back significantly up to stop us out of this trade. Now, right now, we continue. We are beginning to see multiple rejection within that selling window again now, which is tending towards the downside. Let me scale down to the 1 hour time frame so that I can show you clearly what this looks like. So if we scale down to the 1 hour time frame, first of all, look at this bullish trend line. You can see this bullish trend line still runs through, and we can see after price came to this point here, that is the 1.00800 level, we have seen price continue to find lower highs. And what does this tell us? When we start seeing lower highs, this tells us that the bearish momentum appears to be coming back again. So what I want to be looking forward to right now, remember we've already taken a loss here on this one. What we are going to be looking forward to now is a breakdown of those bullish trend lines to give us that signal that we want to be going bearish this time. So what we want to be looking forward to during the New York session today is to see price break down the key level here at the $1.00 level, which also shares a confluence with the bullish trend line. So if we at any point see a breakdown of this area, then a retest of structure should give us further confirmation on lower time frame. That is, we want to see patterns that support a trend continuation to the downside on our lower time frame to join the decline to the downside. So this is how I intend to trade the Euro USD, and I hope this is how you will be prepared too as well. So what we want to be waiting for too is the breakdown of this bullish trend line, a breakdown of this key level as well. Then we want to see price come back to do a retest to structure, where we look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the decline to the downside. So that is what we are looking forward to here on the Euro USD. So our perspective on the Euro USD still remains the same. Bearish it is. And one thing, where will our take profit target be? Our take profit target still remains around the 0.98500 area. So this is where we still want to hold our take profit target, which will be dovetailing to about 150 pips to catch here if price moves in our favor. So I'll be advising us to be on standby, and remember, we don't want to be too excited when we sight the signal. We want to wait for further confirmation in the form of a retest of structure before we want to join the decline to the downside. So that is that on the Euro USD. So our perspective is still bearish, and we have a take profit target around the 0.98500 area. So let's see how price plays out during the New York session today, so that we can take advantage of that move when it finally happens. So that's that on the Euro USD. If you have questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section, and let's move on to the next pair. So what's the next pair we looked at yesterday? Hold on a second. I want to quickly run through our plan for yesterday and see what we have. Okay, so the next pair we want to be looking at is the GBP USD, and that's going to be the last pair we're going to be deliberating on today. The GBP USD also hit our take profit target yesterday. In fact, we had a very sweet day yesterday. Price just continued to move in our direction. So remember what happened, what we saw during yesterday's live session. This is where we are during yesterday's live session. We were around this area. Yes, we were around this area. We saw this impulsive move prior to the live session yesterday, and I told you that if you had missed this move, the only chance of you joining this trend is to wait for price action to come back to do a retest of the 1.16500 level, after which patterns on lower time frame that suppose a trend continuation to downside should incite a selling opportunity. And what happened? We can see we had rejections here. We had the first rejection, we had a second rejection, we had a third rejection, we had the fourth rejection before that bearish move happened. So if you had missed one, you likely wouldn't miss the second, and if you had missed the second, you likely wouldn't miss the third, and if you had missed the third, there was another last chance, last opportunity to take advantage of that move at the fourth point during the later part of the New York session yesterday, and we took that move to the downside. And if you are taking that move from here yesterday, then definitely you will be in about 90 pips in profit at this point. And if you are taking it um, since uh, since Wednesday, then you will be about 130 pips in profit at this point. So price is right within our TP target zone. So if you are okay, you can take your profits, you can close your position at this point, or probably extend your TP and lock your profit right above the 1.1600 level and see how price will continue to the downside from here. So with the GPUSD, with profit taken here on the GPUSD, kudos to those who took advantage of that move. How do we intend taking advantage of any opportunity here on the GPUSD this New York session? Well, if we look at the current structure we have here on the 1 hour time frame, I would, after advising that we move our stop loss accordingly, the next thing I want to do here is to bring up my line chart, and let's connect this series of, so we have this trend line here. We have this trend line here on the so we have this trend line here on the 1 hour time frame. So let's go back to our candle chart. No, before we do, I think we have another one here. We have another one here that was broken. So this is what we have here now. The bullish trend line. Price has consistently respected this bearish trend line since the later part of last month. We saw our price has continually respected that area. We saw the final respect of this area before we saw the breakdown of the structure. So right now, if you want to be part of this bearish momentum at this point, I will advise you, that is for those who actually missed this move, what I'll be suggesting is you remain patient, and wait for price action to either come back into this bearish trend line, where we want to be looking for multiple rejection like what we did yesterday, or patterns or reversal patterns on lower time frame to join the trend continuation to the downside. So what I'll be advising you, if you had missed the opportunity here on the GBP USD, is to wait for price to do a retest of the structure. Then you can look forward to taking advantage of the bearish momentum here. However, if at any point we see a breakout of structure, that is, price breaks out of the structure, then definitely we want to be seeing this as a momentum shift, which is likely going to be a retracement of the previous impulse leg, where price will likely come back into this area, then probably do a trend continuation to the downside from there. So this is what we are going to be looking forward to. So if you are still in this trade, move your stop loss right above the 1.1600 level and probably extend your TP if you are comfortable with that. And if you are not, you can close your position at this point. And for those who are not in this trade, the only way you could take advantage or join this decline is to be patient and wait for price action to come back and do a retest of the structure around here to join the decline to the downside. So that is that on the GPUSD, and that is our last pair that we're going to be looking at for today. And before we call it a day, let's quickly run through and do a quick recap of what we have talked about so far. So the first pair we deliberated on today was the US oil, where we've been enjoying a bearish momentum since the last 72 hours thereabout. And sorry, I think we actually hit our TP target on the US oil. And right now, what are we going to be looking forward to doing the New York session today? So what I said is this: considering the bearish momentum we've been experiencing in the last couple of weeks, what I'll be suggesting is that we want to wait for price to do a retest of this bearish trend line to give us another opportunity to join this decline. So to make our job easier during the New York session today, I was able to identify a key level at the $88.80 area. And if you look left, you can see that the structure has been a major determinant of price action in the past. We saw how price was buyers bought from this point. We saw the same thing happen around this area before we saw this final breakdown of the structure. And from a technical perspective, whenever we cite a breakdown or breakout of structure, what do? We expect price to come back and do a retest of that structure to give us further confirmation of a trend continuation towards the prior leading price actions direction. So in this case, the direction is bearish. So we have a breakout of structure here at the $88.80 level. So we had a breakout of structure here. So what we are waiting for to take advantage of that bearish move is for price to come back and do a retest of that structure to join the decline to the downside. Oh, sorry. Our take profit target on a long term is still at $85 mark. So this is the $85 level, which is the key level we identified on the daily time frame. So let's see if price is going to go that far before we start seeing bullish momentum. And let me show you where that is on the daily time frame. Let's see where that is. We have it here. So we had $85 level here. That is the golden line we have here. So what I'm saying is this: considering the long-term bullish momentum on this one, it's likely that we have price come back into the $85 level here, where we begin to see a reversal pattern that is likely going to be sending price going to the upside from that point. But if that does not happen and we see a breakdown of the 85 level, then we want to be seeing that as a signal that the bearish momentum is about to happen. And remember, we are not getting too excited at the sight of a signal, as we want to wait for price to give us a confirmation in the form of a retest of either the structure here or this bullish trend line to join the decline. So that is that on the US oil. Then we moved on to talk about the US tech, where we already hit our take profit target on the US oil as price continued to trend towards the downside. But something interesting was observed on the, I think is it on the 1 hour time frame. Yes, we had something interesting identified on the 1 hour time frame, where we were able to see multiple rejection of the $12,100 mark in the last 12 hours. So far we've been seeing multiple rejection from this area, giving us a clue that buyers are likely to come in to push price to the upside. But one thing I said here is that this bullish momentum is likely going to be a retracement phase of this impulse leg that we had here. So if we are going to be seeing a bullish momentum here, especially for those who like taking counter trend opportunities or those who like taking short-term trades, if you see a breakout of the $12,160 area, we want to wait for confirmation in the form of a retest of structure here on the lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. So like I said, this rally is likely going to be a retracement phase of the spiral of this impulse leg here, after which we have a sell window here. So if you are a counter trend trader or a short-term trader, you could actually take advantage of that move if you have a breakout retest of the $12,160 level to head into this area, which is about 200 pips to catch there. But for a long-term trader like me, I'll be suggesting that you wait for price action to come into this area, where we look out for patterns like a double top structure to join the decline to the downside from that point. So these are the scenarios we are looking forward to. We already saw a breakdown of the bullish trend line here. We saw the breakdown of the bullish trend line around this point. Then we expect price to come back and do a retest of that trend line to join the decline to the downside. So let's be on standby to catch this move when it finally happens, and I wish you best of luck on this one. Then we moved on to the USD Jpy here, and on the USD Jpy, we finally saw a breakout of that channel, which we were expecting yesterday. We cited this channel yesterday, and we finally saw a breakout of that channel, and a retest of that structure is giving us a confirmation of a bullish opportunity. However, I said that if you are not yet in this trade and you still want to join this rally, then it's likely there's still a possibility that price is going to come back into the 139 Japanese yen level, or could come as far as the buy zone area. But the most important thing we want to be looking out for is a sign of a reversal pattern to join the rally to the upside. And our take profit target still falls right around the 140 Japanese yen and the 140.300 Japanese yen area, which is dovetailing to about 150 pips to catch there. So that is that on the USD JPY. Then we went on to talk about the USD CHF, which also shares the same similar scenario with what we had on the USD JPY. We took some profits here yesterday. I think we took about 48 pips profit here yesterday after price rejected the 0.98010 area, and then price came back again into our entry point. We took another advantage again after seeing multiple rejection on the lower time frame, and right now we are in about how many pips in profit right now? We are in about 30 pips in profit at this point in time, and we have a key level here at 0.98010 level. So what I'm saying here is this, especially for those who are not in this trade yet, what you want to be doing is to be patient and wait for price action to break out of the 0.98010, after which a retest of structure will give us further confirmation to join the rally. And if you are still in this trade, you might want to add more position to this trade when price breaks out retest of the structure, with the TP target sitting right around the 0.98600 area and the 0.9900 level. So that is that on the USD CHF. Then we went on to talk about the Euro USD, where we have been expecting a bearish momentum since the beginning of the week after we cited the breakdown of this bullish trend line we identified here on the 1 hour time frame. And then what we noticed yesterday, we saw our price took us out of our position. We are presently in loss on the Euro USD, but we are still expecting that bearish momentum to happen. You can see after price rejected the 1.00750 level, we begin to see lower highs. We saw the first lower high there, then price came here, then we saw the second lower high. And what I'm saying here, for us to take advantage of this bearish move during the New York session today, we want to wait for a breakdown of this bullish trend line, which will give us a signal. Then a retest of structure should give us further confirmation to join the decline to the downside. Take profit target still remains around the 0.98500 area, dovetailing to about the 150 pips move to catch here if price moves in our direction. So that's that on the Euro USD. Then we close the day with the GBP USD, where we have taken our profit on the GBP USD around this area. And for those who are not in the trade, I advise that we wait for price action to come back to do a retest of this area to join the decline to the downside. So what I'm simply saying is this: let's wait for price to come back into the zone where we want to be looking for patterns on lower time frame that supports a trend continuation to the downside. So that's the scenario we're looking forward to on the GBP USD, and I hope you'll be on standby to take advantage of that opportunity when it finally happens. So on this note, I want to call it a day, and thank you for being around. It has been a wonderful moment being with you guys once again. So let's see how what we have discussed so far. We talked about the US oil, we talked about the US tech, we talked about the USD JPY, then we said something on the USD CHF as well, and then the Euro USD, and we closed the day with the GBP USD. So we had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs to look out for trading opportunities during the New York session today. So let's see how this happens, and by tomorrow we shall come here to look at how well our position has been so far. So thank you very much once again, and I hope to see you same time tomorrow, 10 a.m. UTC, 11 a.m. West African time, same place, Extreme Speed Live app. Tell your friends and colleagues, download Extreme Speed Live app on your Play Store so that you can be part of us, part of this family, and let us look at the market together again. Best of luck, New York session, and bye-bye.